Hello and welcome into office hours. Come on in, guys. Sorry about the 3-minute delay. We're just setting up a new camera, which I was hoping to use today, and it's just on there with all of the soundproofing and everything, but it's disconnected. And so I had to just run down to the other office and get a different laptop. So we're going to be on a laptop today while I spend this afternoon trying to fix the camera. I love technology. It's just so great. Have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. Anyway, I'm here now. I'm going to stop complaining and we'll figure this out because I'm an intelligent woman and everything's workoutable. I just have to Google my little behind off and figure it out or hire someone. Okay, I'll just plug in the power. Okay. Ooh. Hello, Sadie. How'd you go? Good girl. Okay, shall we get to work? A bit bright behind me, but not a great deal I can do about that. Let me just... That's a little bit better. That doesn't work. No idea how that works. So here we go. Okay, let's get to work. Right-hand chat box is where you can put all of your questions and I'll answer them in order from first through to last. If you've submitted a question in the portal, you don't have to have submitted one, but if you have, pop it in the chat box on the top, pop it in the chat box on the right-hand side and just say, hey, Grace, I've submitted a question in the portal, and I'll get to that on as well. And then I'm just going to go in order. So I've already got questions coming in, so I'll answer yours first, Sarah. Let me have a quick check. So you said that you've submitted one in the portal, and then I'm on to Jen, and then I'm on to Renee, Mikkel, Amber, in that order. Okay, questions for Sarah Russ. Why isn't my power working? You've got to turn it on at the PowerPoint. Okay, for those who are in their first office hours, welcome. This is going to be a little bit of fun, and I'm just answering all the questions that come in, and some will be really relevant to you, others you might not know what they're talking about because you haven't got to that part of the program that you're in yet, but it's just a place to get answers, learn, be supported. Sarah, where are you? Can't see yours, Sarah. Let me just checking if you... No, I haven't got yours in the office hours portal, Sarah. Nah. Sabine, Sandy, Sky, no Sarah. So you may want to pop it in the chat box here, or you can try submitting it again and let me know what you've been able to. Jen. So Jen's been away for a while, but she's building up her branding agency. Awesome. Well done. And learning everything digital intensely over the last few months. Good job. It's a whole new world, but once you start to make the most out of it, incredible growth. So she's redone her website. She's focusing on selling website private workshops. Cool. Where I go to the client and we do a full day immersive of getting the website set up. Cool. I believe website building often takes much longer and going back and forth, so I wanted to deliver the most valuable possible in the most enjoyable way. I now need to drive traffic. So the first thing, just coming from agency world myself and having run an agency and done a lot of web design, my only concern is that that's not possible. So my first suggestion with this kind of thing would be to do it for a friend or an acquaintance first, do it seriously. And for half price or even pro bono, just doing that with them to make sure that you get a formula around that. Because I'm guessing, I'm assuming you don't know how to code. If you do, that's an awesome skill set. But advanced coding, which means you'd need an on-hand web developer live. And it's just that a lot of the coding things can take longer than that, unless you're using really templatized website templates, which you maybe could do if you gave them a really good brief of what they had to have prepared and ready before you started. So they've got all their copy, they've got all their imagery, they've got all their social links and contact details and all kinds of things that they want hooked up. And it'll be a very simple kind of website. Like you couldn't do a whole Shopify store or, too intense a website. Interesting concept. Interesting concept. It'd be interesting to see if you can make that work. Anyway, I'm sure you could. You just got to get really smart about it because otherwise you'll just run into challenges. And if you can't deliver, that's obviously where you come into the problems. So I'm now needing to drive traffic to my website. What do you reckon would be the best way to do that? So if you're in the, just let me check what, you're in the, I know you're in the Doing Academy. Are you in the project, in the Identity Project, Jen? Because I teach all of that in there. So you'll see that it's just working through the Doing Academy. Even if you're a part of that, that gives you all the basics. Yeah, I teach you how to do all of that. Remember how you do the lead magnet? We come in from Facebook traffic. We design a lead magnet, send traffic to that, and then the next step in your case would be that kind of consult opportunity. So you've got to give them something first to be able to attract them from Facebook and show interest in you and stand out above all the other people out there that are offering to do websites and that are trying to sell website services. You need to stand out because you're giving value, you're kind of coming alongside them, building that reciprocal trust, and as a result, they check out your lead magnet, they like it, and they go on to the next step to book in a time with you to have a chat about this website project. Because I'm assuming it's a high-priced day and you won't be able to sell straight into that. You won't be able to send people straight to an online form and make payment with a credit card because I'm assuming it'll be a few $1,000s. So that means you'll need to make sure that that you've got a consult or something that you can have on that next step so that people can have a chat with you first. So it's this kind of a funnel. This is one I prepared earlier. Ignore all the numbers. Facebook ad through to your lead magnet. Think about your lead magnet. It's got to be something related to the website space that's helping on that first steps towards solving the problem that they already have, which is I need a website, I need it quickly, I don't want to go back and forth with all of the headaches, I just want to get it done, right? That's the problem that they've got. And I don't know who to trust, and I've been burned so many times before by web developers, that kind of stuff. So think about the pain point and make a lead magnet that kind of relates to that. And the obvious next step is the next page where you offer them a consult to find out about this exclusive opportunity to join me in a one-day website workshop and come out at the end of the day with blah. Just make sure you've done it before. That's my biggest recommendation. Make sure you've done it before. And they can go through and book in a chat with you on a calendar if you'd like, or you could just pick up the phone and call them. So that's the way that I would do that model. And I would probably, you know what, the best lead magnet you could possibly create would be to do a case study on how you created a website with someone in a day. So I'd find a friend who has a business or a contact or someone who's willing to do this with me on a first case study test scenario. And I would either try and record parts of the day or I would just capture photos of the day of us getting busy at work and pumping stuff out and the before and after results so that you can do a case study and show that's basically your opportunity. It's a cool little lead magnet. Like, wow, someone built a website in a day. I've just spent 4 months trying to build my website and I'm not even close. Like, how does that happen? Put your email in, check out the case study, and then at the end of the case study, you say, hey, you want to join me in one of these sessions as well? And so that basically is an opportunity for you to show your craft. You get the chance to show off. You get to show that it's possible. There's social proof. There's so many good elements of sales in that one kind of lead magnet. So that'll be extra cool. And I would just either capture parts of it in video and edit it together, or I'd just take photos and put them in like a slide pack and just record myself going through, you know, like a normal Keynote or PowerPoint slide pack and just say, you know, this is where we started, no website or crappy website. This is what we did. We started at this time. The first thing we got doing was this, and kind of go through and then show that sort of transformation process. And it will. And the 3 reasons people don't buy from you, 3 things you've got to overcome is they either A, don't actually want you, so they can't afford you or they don't actually need your product or service. 2, they don't trust you. 3, they don't trust themselves. So showing them what's possible gets them to start trusting themselves and realising, oh, maybe this could work for me. Yeah, no, this is actually possible. And it gets them to trust you as well. Okay, no worries. I'll have a look for that one, Sarah. I've received 30 other questions, so it must be a weird one just with you. But let me see if I can find it quickly. Hope that helps, Jen, and anyone else who's in that kind of space tuning in. I'm wanting to do something like that, building a funnel in a day as a lead magnet to show people that it's possible. And you just, you know, you spend a couple of hours running emails, a couple of hours jumping in front of the camera. It's tough. You've got to do your prep before you do a funnel in a day. But if it takes me a day to do a funnel, even if it takes someone else 6 weeks, it's still pretty quick. You know what I mean? Sarah Russ. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so you want to have a look at your website and see where you can improve. The first thing that, I mean, I'll have a look at your website and see where you can improve, but the first thing that I would be looking at is, cool. I really like it. I think it's better than most. So I like that you've got a video above the fold being the place when people start to scroll. You've got a video above the fold. I like that you've got, I like the color scheme that you've got going on here. I like the button on the right-hand side. Again, a high button above the fold. I love your social proof on the home page. That's flipping awesome. It's really cool. Your brands that you work with. Yeah, it's just looking good. So I'd like to know what the conversion rate is on this website. So if you have a look at your traffic, that's a really important part of this. Because a lot of the time when people show me their websites, I'm like, yeah, they're not that bad. You just, on a normal website, if you're sending cold traffic to a normal website, you need to get a lot of cold traffic to that website for you to make any conversions, right? It will usually be anywhere between 4 and 10 times lower conversion rate than a landing page, which is why I only use landing pages. There's just no point. It's just so much easier than sending people to a website. So, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I don't see any huge issues here. I would definitely make the join button in the top navigation. I would make a join button like a color that really stands out, like put a box around it or do something like that. When it comes to the join button, I'd have it on the far right-hand corner so it isn't lost amongst other things in the navigation. So I'd make that look more like a button. The get started is looking good. And when you click on that, what happens? I'm just seeing how easy this process is. So I would definitely be on the get started button at the top, I would have a pop-up appear where you just capture their email address just as that first step. I do it on my website where I always capture email address as the first step and then just try and take them through to that next page after you've got the email address. So clicking on Get Started, pop-up appears, and you can do a pop-up on ClickFunnels, or they're called Click Pops on ClickFunnels, or you can do one on lead pages. They're called lead boxes. So a pop-up or a box will appear. They type in their email address, to start off their registration, type in their email, and then go through the next page. Because when they click Get Started on your home page, they then go to the next page where they have to start making decisions. And every time they have to make a decision, a certain amount of people drop out. So if they've already made the decision to get started, let's try and start some form of relationship. Let's make sure we at least get an email, because people don't like having to make decisions and conversion rates drop once they start making decisions. Cool. Awesome. And then the only other thing, I really have to read the packages to figure out the difference between them. And so I would how people often, when they've got 3 different packages, they'll do the ticks to show, what's included in the first option, what's included in the second, what's included in the third. So you can easily kind of compare quite simply. And the only thing is that the middle package looks like it's $59 a month, whereas the end package looks like it's $100 for 2 months. That makes me a little bit confused. I'm thinking, oh, did I get that right? Or is that a typo? Is that bigger package cheaper than the package before it? And if so, why? Because that would confuse me a little bit. Because it looks like you're excited without hanging on. Yeah. I don't know the difference between those 2 packages. Is that just, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think actually Livewire is less than Dynamo, but it just doesn't look quite right. So that would be the only thing that would confuse me. Whenever something confuses people, they click away as well. So just try and make those packages a little bit more clear and make sure that you're getting an email pop-up on that home page when people either hit join or when they hit the Get Started button. Those 2 should both look like buttons so that they click on it, email address in, and then through that next step. So that would definitely help, but at the end of the day, you've got to be sending some good quality traffic to this website. And if you were to compare the 2, sending good quality traffic to this website compared to sending it to a landing page. If you're sending it to a website for an opt-in, for a payment, you can usually expect between 1% and 3% of people to pay you money when they come to your website. For an opt-in, maybe closer between 5 to 8% for a good website will opt in with an email, but that's 5 to 8%, whereas landing pages are typically 4 to 10 times that, right? So just be aware of that when you're doing websites. They never, ever convert as well as a landing page if you're looking for an opt-in and a simple step. Next question is from Renee. Let me answer your question, Renee. Got yours here. So my question is in relation to no clients. If you're product-based and you only sell online, not wholesaling yet, what would be the application of knowing your no client? Wouldn't your no client just be anyone who doesn't buy from your online store? So your no client in your market, when I'm talking about an online e-commerce business, these are the people that you don't want to attract with your advertising. So the reason why it's good to know your no clients is, yes, so that if you do have a service-based business or a coach or a consultant and you talk to someone, you can qualify, look, you're not going to be my ideal client. And I do the same thing in my business when I'm just like, there's too many excuses here, or you're not willing to kind of commit, so you'd be a no client. Or if you're in an e-commerce sense, and both senses, it allows you, when you're marketing, to figure out people that you don't want to be attracting. So in your market, you're not wholesaling yet, so that's fine. But in your market, just having a think about the people that you don't want to be attracting. Like, do you find that, like, when do you get refunds or unhappy feedback? What's the common consistency there? Is it for people that, is it millennials don't like your product and don't seem to get value from your product, or are too demanding in your business? Or is it empty nesters, or like what are there people in your market that you just typically have tough relationships with? And in that case, you kind of want to direct yourself away from those people when it comes to your marketing. You're right, it is more applicable in a coaching, consulting, professional services, local services, salons, gyms, stuff like that. But e-commerce, you don't feel it as hard, but it still definitely hurts. There's still people when we were having e-commerce businesses, consulting to them in the agency. There were their no clients were people who lived in rural and regional Australia, because they would no fault of their own, but they would always have problems with shipping, and the product would arrive like melted or all sorts of things, and so they were just like, no, it's just not worth it. So they would try and avoid targeting rural and regional areas. The shipping deadlines were always tough, take forever to get the product out there. So they're like, you know what, we're just going to hit up capital cities, because those guys, not their own fault, but there are no clients. It's just too many headaches. So is there anything like that in your space? So that you're not going to ignore those people altogether, but when you do your targeting, you're not going to specifically target regional and rural Australia, if that was your case. But you're right, it doesn't impact you as much as a service-based business or a coaching or consulting program. Mikkel, you're next, and then Amber. So Mikkel's question is, did you say it was in the portal? Yes, you did. Mikkel, hi. So feedback on your Facebook ad. Okay. What's CPR? Do you mean cost per result? As in, is that per email? If you've set it up properly? So cost per email at $1. Sorry, she's asking a question about her Facebook ad, and she wants me to have a look. So let me have a quick look at the screenshot. That's usually the best way to show me a Facebook ad that's already up and running. You just send me a screenshot of the ad. Cool. Awesome. So there's a few elements. I can see you've copied some of my elements that we teach on. There's a few that haven't been done. The headline and the description aren't quite there in terms of how I teach how to do the headline and the description when you're running your ad. So just double check that. Normally we have, free guide or something like that, and we have a benefit related statement rather than just what they're getting. We have the what they're getting plus a benefit related statement. And then we usually build some curiosity in that ad description. So just double check the Facebook training because the headline's really important. So the image is great. I think that's fantastic. The image is fantastic. You're right, I can't see the full text. You just need to zoom out on your screen and screenshot the full thing. Can't see the full text, but definitely headline and description, just making some tweaks there to align a little bit closer with what I teach on would be really handy. But if you're getting dollar emails, because I'm pretty sure you're talking about the cost per result, right? And you're getting dollar emails. Like, that's pretty insane. Mikkel, let me just have a quick look at this as well. What I'm going to do, un momento. Oops, log out of that. 1 second. Just want to check something in your account. One second, bear with me, callers. So, yeah, you're that, Mikkel. You're in my inner circle, so you're all good. What I want you to do is email me. Can you email? I'm going to ask for some more advanced Facebook training in the inner circle. You get some more advanced Facebook training. So can you email? Just email our members email for the Doers Inner Circle. Email that and say that Grace has approved you to get some more advanced Facebook training. Can you please send it through? And the girlies will send it through to you. That's just more advanced training around how to analyze what's happening and the funnel and what's working and what's not. Because if you're getting dollar emails, like, that's flipping awesome. I'm in a really competitive space and competing against people that are Facebook experts, because I compete in a digital marketing space, and my emails are like $6 at the moment, and I still make incredible income out of $6 emails. So if you're able to get $1 emails, like, that's flipping awesome. That's awesome. So we just have to make sure the funnel's set up properly, that people are taking advantage of this next step, and we're looking after them and nurturing them properly. So you'll see ways that I discover what's working and what's not. Because if you're getting dollar emails, it suggests that this Facebook ad is actually working pretty well. And this lead magnet is also working pretty well, because people are converting and putting their email in. So these two pages are probably good. It's probably this page, the next step that we ask them to take, that needs a little more love. So you'll see all of that in the advanced training. Okay, next question is from Amber. Because I'm saying that, Mikkel, not to try and palm me off, but there's a couple of things that it could be. So that will really help you to troubleshoot it. And I'm assuming that's what you want to do, right? You want to figure out now how to get more kind of in-depth conversations started in this funnel, rather than just the first step. Next question is Amber's question. Amber is in the portal. If you've just joined me, let you know your question in the chat box on the right-hand side, or if you submitted in the portal in advance, let me know that in the chat box in the right-hand side, and I'll answer them in order from first through to last. It is private. You can see your question, but no one else can see it, so you don't need to worry about asking a silly question. Cool. I'm getting ready to start a group of live webinars in conjunction with a product launch to gain an email list. Awesome. I don't have the budget to use Webinar Jam, so I want to know what your opinion on some of what has been suggested to me. So Google Hangouts and YouTube Live is what someone told me to do, because it's free, correct? But I use GetResponse for my email list website, so I don't know which was a better option. So if you're doing live webinars, did you know GetResponse has a built-in webinar platform? Alternatively, if you're doing live webinars, Zoom is a free platform. And you don't get the same level of reporting, but you do get a really good in-room experience, broadcast room experience in Zoom. So in my opinion, for where you're at, if Webinar Jam's a bit tight, just go Zoom. The only thing about Google Hangouts and YouTube Live is that you can't make it like private. They're better if you're wanting to generate, if you don't want it to be the content to be locked behind an email. So if you want to build a list, you want to get an email address for people to join you in that webinar. And so you want to have a platform where you can lock it up just for people that have given you an email address. So that's where Zoom or even GetResponse is live platform, but I don't have any experience in using that. I just know that GetResponse do have a live webinar platform, but I know that Zoom's probably a great place for you to start. Do I have strong opinions as to either of the two? Yeah, just too public. Unless you're just wanting to do a whole heap of free webinars and use them to generate leads rather than to be your lead magnet. But you can also jump on a Google Hangout and have 4 people join you. Like, if you're wanting to do it properly, you need to promote the webinar on Facebook. You need to have people register to join you in the webinar. And if that's the case, then it needs to be an email opt-in. So, yeah, product launches, you're heading in the right direction. It's either usually a webinar or like a 4-part video series that people can get access to in exchange for an email address. But, yeah, it's some sort of video-based content where we're locking it behind an email address so they join our community to find out more about something they actually want to know. Remember that. Remember, people don't want to know about your product or service. People want a solution to their problem. So make sure that you focus completely and entirely on them and their problem, because no one cares about the product. They only care about what the product or service will give them. And I know that for a fact. I know we really care about our products and services because we know the power that they can have and the end results they can deliver, but no one else cares. They care about the problem they've got right now and the end result that your product or service can deliver, but not your actual product or service. Good. My webinar would be about how to create more money as a freelance makeup artist. Perfect. With a bit of a sales ladder. Cool. So, in my opinion, do a webinar funnel. Jump into Module 9, follow my webinar steps, use Zoom instead of Webinar Jam. Whenever I say Zoom, just use Webinar Jam. It doesn't give you as much and you can't automate it in terms of turning that into an evergreen webinar, but it's fine for live webinars. But follow those steps. And at the end of the webinar, you can present to them the documentary, the VIP packages, one-on-one coaching, all that kind of stuff can be presented in the webinar and paid for in the webinar. And then regardless, you've built up the email list of people that have registered for the webinar. You build up the email list and you just never go crickets on those people. You just continue to keep them in the loop and update them, give them amazing value, give them some extra little mini trainings and keep positioning that to them. I did one recently and thought that this particular part of my email list was dead. And so I gave them some more training, trained them in some certain things that I knew were really valuable for these guys that they really needed to know, that were really pivotal to me being successful, trained them in that, and then at the end offered them the same opportunity that they'd previously not accepted, offered them the same opportunity, said, hey, do you want to get inside? This is what it's about, blah, 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 this is how I can help you. And 338 people so far have already, in a couple of weeks, have already said, yes, I want that, and registered for it. And it's a paid product. I was like, oh, okay. You just didn't want it at the time. You weren't ready. But now sometimes it's a trust thing. A lot of the people I talk to when I ask why now, why are you joining my paid community now, they'll often say, oh, I've known about you for 6 months, 12 months, sometimes 18 months. I've been following you a lot, 18 months. And I think, gosh, that's a long time. But it was just that they weren't ready back then. But now they are. And so because I've been present, it's sending an email. It's not like I'm spending on Facebook on them again and again and again and again. I'm just keeping in touch with valuable email content. And then it gets to the point where they go, I trust you, and now I need this. Now's the right time for me. So I'm going to take the next step. So that was really encouraging in two senses. One, to remind me that there's value in an email community, even though you think they're dead or you think they've said no, a lot of the time they haven't. And it's just all about getting in touch. It's just, don't think that people are gone because they're not responding the first couple of times. It might be a couple of months down the track, right? Just realizing how much value is in that list and how much value is in so many of my members' lists. But they just go cold on them and don't talk to them. Okay, cool. Next question is Kate. Oh, that's weird. Let me double check them, Kate. It must be an email thing because I've definitely answered this one. Weird. We're touched on but not answered. Oh, did I get distracted? Sorry. Yeah, and the answer to the first part of your question. Let me just show you later. So Grace said, yes, the attachment I provided was correct, and how that is how I link up my landing pages to MailChimp. No, you don't need Zapier. Okay, let me explain this because this is a really good question. Let me explain this. And those that are brand new and haven't built a landing page yet and you're still working through the program, it's fine. You'll get to this point. Okay, I thought I explained this, but maybe I didn't explain this properly, so I'll try again. So your funnel was correct, yes. You haven't got a webinar, so that's fine. So the only, in ClickFunnels, you can send emails in ClickFunnels, right? You don't need the full-on Actionetics. Actionetics is an add-on, which makes it $300 a month. And you can get that if you'd like. Some of my girls like that. I personally don't, because I don't think it adds any extra value for an extra $200 a month. I don't see it being valuable enough for that. I think Infusionsoft for $200 a month is, I know from experience, 10 times more valuable than Actionetics. They're trying to compete against Infusionsoft, but ClickFunnels, Actionetics is definitely just an on-the-side email marketing tool that they've set up. They don't spend, it's not like their full-time focus, and it is for Infusionsoft. So that's why Infusionsoft is so much better for the same price. So you don't need the Actionetics part. What Kate was alluding to is the automation section of a funnel. So in each funnel, you also have an automation section in the normal $97 ClickFunnels. So you have an automation section in each of your landing pages where you can have it trigger emails that get sent to people. Now, this is worth, the only time when I would use those emails is if people were watching a webinar and it was my pre-webinar reminders. So if I was building a webinar in ClickFunnels, because you can do that, I said quiet. If I was building a webinar in ClickFunnels, I would use, for the pre-webinar show-ups, I would use the emails inside the automation section of ClickFunnels in that particular landing page, and that one only. Only because the webinar date and time is dynamic for each person, and it merges in the different date and time and a unique link for every person. So that really is quite important. So if you'll see, you're in, just one second, you're in the Identity Project. So you'll see that training in the ClickFunnels section in the Identity Project. If you're doing webinars, you'll see in the Identity Project that I teach you how to set up the webinar. So that's one option. You're not using a webinar though. You're going straight from a squeeze through to an order form. For the workshop, that's right. So you're doing the workshop one, so you don't need to use any of those automation tabs on any of your pages. What you do need to use is MailChimp, right? So here's what you need to do. I'll open up my ClickFunnels account. No, Sadie. I'm babysitting another dog for 3 weeks. I'm just opening up ClickFunnels. Yeah, that was probably not the wisest idea I've ever made, because I just thought, you know, I've got a dog. I walk her, I'll just walk 2 dogs. Or, you know, I feed her, I'll just feed 2 dogs. It will be just the same, won't it? It's really, really not. It's fun. It's now up, so I can now hit share screen. You're going to lose my face because this is that she's basing this on. So if we think about the live event funnel, on this first page here, on the live event funnel, we're capturing an email address. So don't worry about using this automation section here, because you can send emails from here, but you don't want to build up your email list in ClickFunnels just because it's quite limited. You want to build up your email list in MailChimp, because then you can do all sorts of really cool, crazy promotions and do a whole lot more with the list, get much better reporting, all that kind of stuff. It's just far more superior. MailChimp, and then obviously the next level up from that is Infusionsoft, which is way more automated than MailChimp. So we go in here, we set up, I remember explaining all of this. I must have explained it the wrong way around because I was showing you both parts of this last time. So you just go into settings, you go into integrations, and under integrations, if you've set up MailChimp properly, you'll be able to select MailChimp from here. And when it sees MailChimp, it'll ask you what list you want to put them in. So here it'll say, you know, add them to a list, and you choose your workshop Likeable Lady list. right? Because remember, these guys that come in through here that give us an email address on this pop-up. Remember this pop-up here? Anyone that puts their email in here, we want them to go through to your Likeable Lady emails. And we're not going to send the first one out for the first. We're going to wait 30 minutes before the first one goes out. If you're new to this funnel, don't freak out. You'll learn about it as you work through. But we're going to wait 30 minutes hoping that they'll put their email in, then go through the next page, leave, and place their order. But if they don't, that's okay. We'll nurture them anyway, and we'll look after them with our Likeable Lady emails. Now, when they place their order, in a similar kind of way, we just go to Edit Page, and we go to Integrations. And we can then make that all of the people that submit successfully on this page, that they go into a welcome to the event, pre-event nurture, right? A pre-workshop nurture kind of email series in MailChimp. Right, so that's how they get put into their sequences. Keep in mind, if this will still put them in, because ClickFunnels is only reading the information on this page, and because this has got a billing section, right, and you're with this billing section here where they put their credit card in, because you're having Stripe process those payments, ClickFunnels will still approve them if the card bounces. So it will still move them into, on some occasions. Like, if it's an incorrect card, it won't put them into that MailChimp pre-workshop nurture. But if it's just a bounced payment, sometimes it won't pick up. It'll make it look like it's a successful payment. So you'll be able to see in Stripe anyone that bounced. And I would recommend just yourself or someone else just double checking a couple of times to see if the Stripe payment went through. So you can either just connect it that simply with that. So the first page, they go through into your Likeable Lady emails. This second page, they can go straight through into the registration, and you just reconcile that each day and just say, okay, I sold 6 tickets. Did all 6 of those people go into MailChimp? Cool, looking good. Your alternative, as I was saying, is Stripe does connect with MailChimp. So, and I showed all this to you last week. Stripe does connect with MailChimp, and so you can go in and have it so that ClickFunnels tells MailChimp if they're successful for the lead magnet, and Stripe tells MailChimp if they're successful for the payment. So the lead magnet being that first registration page, you can add Stripe customers into a MailChimp list there. So I'm pretty sure that answers your question. Is there something that I didn't answer in that question? Just let me know, because I'm pretty sure that answered the question. Which is what I kind of said last week. So maybe you missed the answer. I'm not sure. Okay, next question is from Nicole. So she submitted a question in the portal. Nicole, there you go. Oh, I got 3 Nicoles. Can you tell me your last name? I can't see from the chat box. Sorry. Tell me your last name. Okay. Kimberly, you've sent in your Likeable Lady emails into the portal. Kurt for Kimberly. I'll hit refresh because I can't see yours in there, Kimberly, on office hours. Yet. Let me just scroll down. JK, I've only got Kylie. Jan, Kylie, then straight on to Laura. I'll just quickly check. Maybe you put them in Identity Project instead. If you're in the project, maybe you put them in there. Thinking that this is Identity Project. 1 second. Sort by. So coaching call questions. Sort by. Yeah, I got yours here, Kimberly. Likeable Lady emails. Cool. I want to know if I'm on the right direction. What changes do you recommend? Wonderful. Let me have a quick look. It's just loading. Cool. So scrolling down. Cool. So first thing I normally do is go through, when I'm looking at likable lady emails, I go through and look at email length. I want them to be long enough, but not too long. So I normally don't want them to be over 300 words. And if they're over 300 words, I normally try and cut them back. So that's good. All of her emails are of a good length. Next thing I normally want to do is go through and look for any chunky paragraphs. If paragraphs are going over 3 lines, it's a sign that these paragraphs are too chunky and they need to be broken up. It's very hard to read an email with big chunky paragraphs. So I can see a couple in email 2 that should be broken up. And maybe there's one in email 3. The top paragraph in email 4 could also be broken up. The way that I do my breaking up, and the third thing that I look for is looking for those leading paragraphs where you finish with an ellipsis and you end with the ... new line. And often you'll break it up at the end of a sentence, but often you can even break it up halfway through a sentence to keep the eye reading and keep it more conversational. So I was just looking at one here, for example. On my desk, a big pile of ... new line. That's right, you guessed it. I go ... new line. Policies and procedures requiring updates. Full stop. Plus, there were client calls I needed to make. New line. Surely this isn't what I was created to do, right? And so on. So just breaking up those quite a bit. This is quite jargony, like I don't understand what most of this means, but I'm assuming this because the industry that you're going into knows what all of this means. So if you need to simplify it because you're the expert in this space and other people aren't, if you need to simplify it, make sure you simplify it. Maybe show it to someone in your industry who would be your ideal client, a business contact or someone like that, and just see if it makes sense to them. Because if they have to kind of read a paragraph a couple of times to understand what you're saying, it's too chunky. Even in corporate, it has to be really, really simple. Even when I was targeting marketing managers in kind of mid-level business, sort of that 5 to 10 million plus mark, even when I was targeting marketing managers in the agency to do marketing campaigns for them, I was so shocked by how simple I had to, like, they just didn't know what so many of the terms meant, even though that they were working in that full time. So just be aware of that. If you're in your genius zone, you can sometimes use words and go a little bit too high level when most humans just like it simple. Now, the other thing I'll be looking for is the call to action. In each of these emails, I want the call to action to be the same as what's on the next page. So they've all come in and put their email in here. That's how you're able to send them the likable lady emails. So they've all put their email in for your top 5 myths. And on this page here is where you're wanting to have them take that next step towards you and join you in a workshop. Cool. And if this is a lead generation workshop, is this workshop free or paid? If it's free, it should probably be a live event model, and you'll see in my live event model, I go straight to the workshop. If it's a paid workshop and like a high price point paid workshop, then yes, this would be a second step like you've got it here. So yeah, this is looking good. So I'm wanting to find out really easily what the next step is and why the heck I would want it. So as a consumer, I need to know that it's solving my problem, because that's the only reason I'm going to go, not because I want to pay you cash. No one wants to pay you cash. People want to solve their problems. So it needs to be super them focused, and you need to show them how you get their problem. You know the solution that they need, and this happens to be your product and service, right? So I reckon you got to sex this up a little bit more. So the offer's really clear what's happening. I would put in here how long the workshop is. Is it a 4-hour one? Is it a 1 day? So I just drop that in when you talk about it just once in an email. When you say the word workshop, have one of those have 4-hour or 1 day or whatever it is before, because people have assumptions. I used to put that in quite a bit into my emails because people would have assumptions that it was a weekend or a full day, and I'd say no, it's just a 4-hour workshop. So I just want to see some benefits. I would want to know, again, it's still quite jargony. I would want to know, if you're like, if you want to start your activities, if you want to do these activities, I would want to know what the end result is. I think it's focusing too much on the process, not on the benefits, if that makes sense. So putting a sentence into each of these emails so that you can, blah, like why do they care enough to want to complete these activities? It's not just to check it off. It's because, you know, they want to be compliant and relieved of stress. I go a little bit more emotional rather than, you know, it's not just people that want to build a successful business. People want to build a successful business so that they can do what they were created to do, so that they, you know, in my case, so that they can remove all of the stress and the overwhelm around generating income, so that they, you know, so they can be a role model, be proud of what they're creating, have confidence as they step out as a female entrepreneur. Like there's all those underlying more emotional benefits of what I teach rather than just like being successful in a worldly sense. So just looking at that would be really important. The last thing I like to look at, but you're clear in your call to actions. We just need to make them a little bit more enticing, which is hard in your industry, but we have to. And then finally, urgency call to action. So I will always look at the fifth email, make sure it's really direct, make sure we're not complicating it with any other offers. We're focusing on that one option. And there's some urgency in there, and there's real urgency in yours because the next workshop spots only have a couple of spots left, so that's perfect because you've, you know, modelled it off mine. So that's looking good. I'm assuming you're doing a workshop. Sometimes people use my workshop emails when they're not doing a workshop. But yes, if you're doing a workshop, those Likeable Ladies emails are good. Just a couple of tweaks. Un momento. Cool. Glad that helps. Cool, Kimberly. Yep. Then that's a good funnel the way that you've set it up. And if it's high level paid, if it's like $500 weekend workshop or something like that, which some of my girls offer on their second page, if it's a high level paid, consider the option of people giving you just first name, last name, email, phone, so you can call to reserve their spot, just so they can ask you any last questions. If it's a really high price point, not really high, but if it's like a $500 or even a few $100 for your first one, rather than sending them straight to an order form and ask them to trust you with that much money up front, I would recommend telling them all about it and saying that they can find out more and reserve one of the remaining tickets by entering their details on here, and you'll give them a call to make sure they're the right fit and reserve their spot with them. So just be aware of when you talk about a paid workshop, how expensive it is. If it's over $100 for the first one, it'd be worth putting a call in first instead of going to the order form. Next question is from Jen. Oh no, I answered yours, Jen. Sandy. Yes, I saw your question get sent into the portal. Sandy, you got 3 again. I'll just check if they're all the same. You got 3. I do have a limit just because I got so many questions this morning. I do have a limit to 1, so just let me know which one you would like me to answer this week, and you can submit the others for the next one. Actually, I'm allowed to answer 2 this week because it's fortnightly. Next question is from Anne. You said good morning and told me your name. Is that because you've submitted a question? No, I think it's just because you're saying good morning. Good morning, Anne. Marie, you've got a question here. Okay, Maria, sorry. I'm advertising my products that come from my website on my existing Facebook page. And now Facebook has contacted me to say that all shop products on Facebook have been rejected. A breach of Facebook's terms and conditions was provided for the reasons. Probiotic under their prohibited content. Yes, that's annoying. I don't have any control over what Facebook do and don't allow, unfortunately. Yeah, so the appeal, you could totally appeal it. That's the only thing you can do. But yeah, you just need to be sending traffic through lead magnets and through other health-related things that aren't focusing on medical promises or on implying or asserting medical conditions, like my whole Facebook training. I'm pretty sure you've watched that one. And the second part is, yes, you have to go through a lead magnet, and then you have to use your email list to promote really well. So you can totally get around that. You don't need to have your products on Facebook Shop. Like, it's great if you can, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. You can still generate great traffic without having a Facebook Shop. Facebook Shop is just, for those that don't know, it's just the ability to put your actual physical products onto your Facebook page. Because in time, Facebook are about to release this, they're in beta stage, their own kind of shopping platform where people's credit cards are linked to their Facebook account, so they can make purchases quite easily inside of Facebook rather than going to your store. So it will come in time. There's not enough proof or case studies or research on it yet for me to give any advice on it, because people just have way more success sending them to their Shopify stores at this present stage, and it's not available in most countries yet either. So yeah, I can't control what they will and won't let on their store. I would definitely appeal it if you don't think it's reasonable, as you've done, and then I would just make sure that I was focusing my Facebook traffic on lead magnets and getting them over to your store. The way that I do my funnels inside the Identity Project, you've seen how I do my funnels. So I'd be doing competitions, or there's that amazing, the plugin that you can get for you'll see it in Doing Academy under module 3 in landing pages. If you go to the landing pages section of website and landing pages, go to landing pages section and you'll see my favorite tool for Shopify landing pages. It's newish and it's flipping awesome. I love it a lot. So that's the best way, that's the best place to send people from Facebook in your industry. And then you're not reliant on sales through Facebook in that sense. Sandy, ever webinar? Cool. Okay, cool. Let me just have a quick look and I'll be able to understand it a little bit more inside here. Sandy. Gotcha. So, yeah, good question. Okay, so I noticed when you were, okay, let me just have a quick look and read this. Yes, so this is really cool. So she's watched a video at some point that I've done where I've had what's called a delayed buy button. So if I'm ever going out to prospects, people that haven't yet trusted me with money yet, and there's reasons why they haven't done that. Some of them just genuinely don't want me. Others of them don't trust themselves or don't trust me. So I'm just working on that and trying to show them what's possible, trying to show them what I can help them with so that we can build up both of those areas of trust. And at some point, if they do become ready, then I'll be the first person to talk to, right? So when I did this particular video that she's talking about, I was sending people through to a landing page on ClickFunnels. And in ClickFunnels, I had the video that I was promising. I always, if they haven't trusted with money yet, I always teach first. I always give something first, kind of like the lead magnet principle, right? I don't just keep on sending emails saying, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. I always teach first to try and give something free, like I try and give some great value. So at the beginning of the video, I taught. And then at the end, like in a lot of the videos you do, at the end after the teaching, I was like, hey, if you'd like to find out more, this is how you can do that, and presented the next step that people could take. Because there's only so much I can teach people over email. I need them to be a part of my community to give them proper value. And so do you, right? You need them to be a paying member to be able to invest in them and give them what they really, really need. So the thing was, at the beginning, because I was giving them content and I was building up trust and I was giving them this great training, I didn't want them to go to the page and see the next step button straight away, the buy from me, join my program button straight away, because that just wasn't right. I wasn't there to do that at the beginning. I was there to teach. And then if they stayed to the end of the teaching, it showed that they were probably interested for the next step. So I wanted the button to appear on the page after the teaching finished. So when the teaching finished and I transitioned and I said, if you like this, do you want more? That's when I wanted the button to appear. So in ClickFunnels, I will show you how to do that. Because it's really, really, that just got crazy results, that teaching, because it was a really good teaching. And people at the end of it were like, this makes complete sense. I'm really confident in myself now because I understood everything she just said, and I really trust her because she's proven she knows what she's talking about. So it was a really good training. I put a lot of thought and time into that training, and that's why it was so successful. But check it out. I'll just quickly show you. ClickFunnels. And it is over. I'll just share my screen with you as well. Getting nice and close today, aren't I? Hi, guys. It's the joy of working on a laptop. Screen share, turn on. Cool. So it's called a video sales letter, these kinds of things where you teach first and then give some great value. And then give something great value. So this is the teaching one. So I had what's called a delayed buy button. If I hit on edit in here inside ClickFunnels, you'll see I've got the headline up the top.
Hey everyone.
I love it how it plays your videos when you're first going. I got the headline at the top, the video below it, and then see this down here. This is the inner circle. Oh crap, that's gone up. I need to change it. It's 297. This is the inner circle offer. I didn't want that to come up at the front because it just wasn't like, I wanted to teach them first. I wanted to focus on the training and then we can talk about it if they're still there by the time they get to that point. So when I was in Vimeo, I made sure that the play bar was set up so they couldn't skip. I was like, if you want to skip, you're not my ideal client anyway. I don't want you to be one of those people. I want you to like watch the training and invest in your business rather than, you know, I've got 5 minutes, quick, what's going to happen, you know, skip through to the end, not do anything properly. So I turned off the option for them in Vimeo in the settings where I put my videos. I turned off the option for them to be able to skip along. So it just meant that the play bar wasn't on. They could still pause and come back to it later, but I didn't want them to skip. So I looked at my video and figured out how long through the video I started talking about the next step when the training had finished. And so I figured out what time that was. And then I made sure that these two elements, like if I click on this button, and if you click over under advanced, see here, animation. So if you click advanced animation on the bits that you want to have delayed, you can then say when you want to bring those in. So I trained for 35 minutes, right, before, and 50 seconds before I wanted it to fade in. So I said, can you please fade in at 35 minutes and 50 seconds? And I knew that if they got to that, if it got to 35 minutes and 50 seconds, I knew that would fade in and they'd see it at that point, having received awesome value from me already. And I did value from me already. I did the same with this section. Advanced animation, fade in at 35 minutes and 50 seconds. So that's what I've been doing with delayed buy buttons, and they just work really well so that you're not in their face, because I didn't want to be in their face. I wanted them to watch the training and like absorb the training. I didn't actually want them to click and leave the training any earlier than that. So that helps, Sandy. And then the other quick question from you too was yeah, around statistics. So I know ClickFunnels, Webinar Jam, and Infusionsoft give us great stats. Could you walk us through what we should be looking for in our funnels, right? So the most important stats that you should be looking at first, from a Facebook point of view, you want to be looking at what your cost per email is, your cost per conversion. So that's an important number that I track each day. And at the beginning, I just would literally go in and look, but now I have an assistant who puts all of my numbers into a spreadsheet each morning. So I can just do a scan, wake up and go, good. And I'll be looking, if my cost per email's slowly sliding up, like 2 cents more expensive that day and then 5 cents more expensive, and it just slowly goes up, I'll be like, you know what, it's time for a new photo. Or I'm going to write some new copy for that. I'm going to try a different angle, and I'll start that fresh ad as I start to see a trend of the other one getting more expensive. I'll duplicate it, tweak, and go live with a second one so that I can swap them. I can turn off the first one if it gets too expensive. So cost per click is something that cost per email, cost per conversion is something that I'll be looking at on Facebook. On the ClickFunnels side, I'll be looking at how well these landing pages convert. But to be honest, I don't do that after the first month. Because they tend to stay. It's not like Facebook where the message is getting saturated and we need to update it every sort of 4 or 6 weeks. If the landing pages work, the landing pages work. If they don't work, they don't work. So at the beginning, I'll track it for the first month to keep improving them and make sure that those numbers are hitting my targets that I've set. But once I've figured out and got those pages to work, and again, if you're using my pages, you'll be much closer to getting them to work than if you start from scratch with something that's not tested. but I'll check those landing pages in ClickFunnels and look at how well they're converting. Then in Infusionsoft, I'll have some numbers in my dashboard, and I will normally be tracking. So I'll do I did this in our Doers Inner Circle call, actually. Remember, Sandy, I'm pretty sure you're in that. In our Inner Circle call, I actually took you inside my dashboard. I don't do that in these calls, but I took you inside my dashboard and made a saved search and showed you how I do my saved searches. So I'll just figure out what numbers are important to me at the moment. So I might want to have a running tally of how many people have registered for an event. And I might want to have a running tally of how many members I've got. And I might want to have a running tally of how much money I've made that month. And, so there'll be certain things that I want to track. And so on the first of each month, I'll just be like, okay, what do I want to track for this month? What's going on? Cool. I'm pushing this particular product or this particular service or trying to grow this. And I'll put those on the dashboard just so at a glance when I log in the morning, I could be like, oh, great, we've got another, 10 members overnight or whatever that looks like. So yeah, in Infusionsoft, I'll look at more of the bigger picture of how successful the programs or the products are in terms of sales. In Facebook, I'll look at whether I'm getting affordable cost per emails. And in the landing pages, I'll look at those for the first bit, and that's just my way of making sure the landing pages are going to be successful. They're the main things I'm tracking. And then whenever I do a really hardcore email promotion, which is in Sandy, it's in our September Inner Circle pack. I'm showing you how I reactivate a list and make money from an email database. If I've got a particular campaign going out, I'll also check on that each morning. I'm like, oh, how did my email last night go? Oh, wow, it got however much percent open rate. It's at, 30% open rate and 8% clicks, and it generated this many sales. So each night I'll just have a look at the email that was scheduled to go out and see how it went. Each morning I'll look at that. But I don't do that every single day. It's just when I've got a campaign that's running. Hope that helps. So ClickFunnels for landing pages. Yeah, and in terms of Webinar Jam, I don't actually go in there that much because all the other systems tell me what I need. I don't really go in Webinar Jam that much for reporting. It gets used like crazy every second of every day. There's people in Webinar Jam having an awesome experience. But I don't really use the tracking. I have used the tracking before when something's gone wrong. And I've been like, what's going wrong here? And I've tried to figure it out. My landing page is still converting. And what did I learn? That was when I was testing comments, whether I wanted comments on or off. And so I was in Webinar Jam looking at if people were dropping off because of the comments. I was kind of looking at some stats in there, but it's more if I'm doing an investigation because something's gone drastically wrong and I'm trying to figure out why it went wrong. Something that was working that stops working. Sometimes I'll look in Webinar Jam for that. Okay. Next question is, if someone buys a product, is there an automated way to upsell them at the time of purchase? Yeah, there she is. That's my normal process. So if you're in your webinar and you're sending them to, or wherever you're sending them from, if you send them to a payment page, you should absolutely have an upsell after that. So in ClickFunnels, it's just called a one-time offer or an upsell page. So if you're building your order form page in ClickFunnels, you'll have your order form page for the main order. And if that's successful and you have a one-time offer set up after it, if you have that first funnel step and then the next funnel step is a one-time offer, it'll show that one-time offer or upsell. ClickFunnels call them one-time offers. Same thing. It'll show that upsell. So as long as that's the next page, it'll show the upsell and give them the opportunity, because they've already entered their credit card once, it'll show them what the next product is and they can click. And just with one click, it'll add it to their card rather than having to enter their credit card twice. That's the whole point of upsells. They're flipping awesome. And that's the whole point of, I guess, why they call them one-time. Yeah, one-time offers. Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense. Anyway, yes, an upsell comes in after the order form. It's all in ClickFunnels and really easy to do. The next question is from, I'm just trying to go in order, make sure I get through them all. Have I missed? You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Nicole, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Sorry, I knew I was waiting for someone to give me something so I could keep moving forward. Nicole, gotcha. Cool. So I'm a writer, and my first product is a series of e-guides focusing on international online shopping. Okay. So I intend to expand to include training, cool, in relation to creative writing for e-commerce stores. I put together the draft of my first Facebook ad. Cool. So the biggest thing when it comes to, so you're wanting to do sort of online coaching, kind of become that online thought leader, make sure first that you've done this in a more one-on-one environment. So that whole evolution of a coach or a consultant, really, really important to do it in order. So make sure first you've had heaps of success, you've got case studies, all that kind of stuff. Working with this on more of a one-on-one basis and working with people individually through this before you try and go online one-to-many. Otherwise, it just won't click. You won't have the authority and you won't have the credibility online to go straight into being an online kind of coach on this unless you've got the proof. And made great money from doing that first step. It's just much harder and much more expensive to get traction if you go straight to online without having nailed it in more of that, not offline setting, but more of that face-to-face one-to-one setting. You'll still fill up. That's the biggest thing that I try and teach. We can still have an online business without our product and service being delivered online. So if you have an online business in, say, even just something like a beauty salon, right? If you're just an amazing makeup artist and beautician, right? This is just a basic example. But if you're amazing at that, a lot of people think the only way they can have an online business is if they build an online brand and teach online makeup classes and have online products. And it's like, no, you can embrace digital marketing and build an incredible funnel directing people to your beauty salon, wherever that is. Right? It means like you just use all of that amazing digital online world, that automation for that current beauty salon and get that one humming, right? So you can still direct Facebook traffic and you can still have a lead magnet and you can still direct people to your beauty salon through the funnel. You can still do automated email campaigns, right? To people, bringing them back into that salon. You can still be doing automated text messaging and kind of having those recurring clients that can automatically reschedule with online calendars and come straight in without having to pick up the phone and all the drama that goes around that. So you can still have an exceptional online experience when you're delivering the product face-to-face. And if you nail it there, you're 10 times more likely to be successful when you then want to go and take that online. I'm not saying that you have to do that forever, but I'm saying you kind of have to nail it in that space. Because if you just try and take that straight online and say, I'm a beauty expert, trust me, people are like, there's a lot of beauty experts online who want me to trust them. But hey, you've just run a successful face-to-face location. You've got a really big following from that already. Heaps of people trust you. You've got this like wealth of knowledge and this kind of credibility that you can be peppering into all of your messaging about how successful you are in the beauty space and how you've dominated that part of Melbourne or New York or wherever it is your beauty salon's located. And now I'm going to listen to you. Out of all the other people out there in the market, you can't just be another voice saying that you like beauty. Does that kind of make sense? So that's why I say make sure that you always start with that more face-to-face one-to-one. Same if you're being a consultant or a coach in life coaching or in creative writing or whatever it looks like in your space. And you know what? That beauty salon, I can promise you the owner of that beauty salon, once she nails that beauty salon, will want to either sell it or let someone else run it. And she'll want to go online and teach other people, not beauty, but she'll want to teach them how to run a beauty salon successfully. Because the perceived value of that, teaching people how to make money, is a gazillion times higher. So you can charge a lot more. You can't charge $2,000 for a course on how to apply makeup. You can charge $2,000 for a course on how to teach people how to make money running a beauty salon. You know what I mean? So that's where, you know, you start to have so much more leverage. You're like, hold on, this is going to be a lot more profitable than I ever thought it could be because I've cut my teeth first. So same with this writing element, right? Make sure that you've done the face-to-face one-to-one because otherwise it just takes forever, if ever, it actually gets off the ground from an online sense. So let me have a look at the Facebook ad. The biggest thing too, if Facebook advertising is paid advertising, right? And I know we're talking cents or a couple of dollars, but it's still paid advertising for each of those people that are coming into your funnel. Make sure that you've got your product set up and ready to go before you start. You've got to know what your end goal is. If you're just trying to build a list, I don't know, you've got to have a fair bit of cash to want to build a list and not get return for it straight away. I would never recommend going into a space without your product or service ready. It doesn't have to be completely ready, but just you need to be able to have some sort of financial transaction as quickly as possible, because otherwise you'll just run out of cash, won't you? That's my only thing. Cool. So, yeah, what I want you to do, this doesn't have any of my Facebook elements in it. So I need you to watch my Facebook training. So jump into, none of them were in there. So it's really important before you send me stuff, make sure you've gone and watched the training and have applied it in that space. So you need to go into the Facebook training section and follow it step by step. Nothing in that is an accident. If you put that ad up, it's highly likely that it'll bomb. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be successful. I want you to be getting cheap clicks straight out of the gate. So jump in, watch the Facebook training, and then send it back to me once you've applied those steps. Because there's a specific way to do it that works every time for me. So why wouldn't you do it that way? It'll just save you so much money and headaches. I don't want that for you. I've done all that work for a reason. Okay, next question. I think Min's next. I thought you had a question, Min, but hold on. Cool. So you're welcome, guys. Yeah, the biggest thing, Jen, in your case, Jen was just asking for a little bit. In your case, Jen, when it comes to website building, go top, from my experience, go very templatized. So there's like 5 different types of websites, because you can have one template and use it in like a gazillion different ways. When you've got different colors, different logos, different branding, different industries, different copy, it looks like a brand new website, but you're using templates. I prefer to use templates because I know they work. Otherwise, people come to you and say, I like this, and you go and build it, and it just ends up looking crap. So it's got to be ones that A, you're familiar with, so you can be more efficient and get the work done for them faster, but B, something that you know converts really well. So that's why I like to use templates, and I tend to find 5 is plenty, and I'll be able to find something they like out of those 5. And if you've got 5 templates, again, I do them WordPress friendly, because I know then that they'll have capabilities above and beyond what they'll ever need. Decide whether you're going to do Shopify or not. I'd recommend you start, like, you either are a Shopify expert or you're not. Like, don't try and just dabble in it. 5 templates, and with those 5 templates, what I would do before is have an online form. I would create an online form in something like Gravity Forms. This is what I actually did in my agency. Gravity Forms. I did a training on this recently. Why did I do a training on it? Gravity Forms. What's that for? I did a whole training on it. Gravity Forms, onboarding process. Why did I do that? Where would I find that training? I have to figure that out. It's really annoying me now. I did a whole training on how I created that form. Oh, yes. Are you in the inner circle? It was for the inner circle. Sorry. Anyway, going to Gravity Forms, and I teach all this in the inner circle. If you're in the inner circle, it's in July's pack, so stay tuned. You'll get it this week. And I thought of everything I could possibly need to build that website. And I would have 5 different forms, because each website was slightly different. On one website, I might need 5 testimonials for a testimonial scroller. On another website, I might need 3. And on another website, I might need trust symbols. And on another website, I might not, or whatever it was. So for that website, I sat down and I was like, okay, what are the parts that I need? I need your phone number for the top right. So I'd have on Gravity Forms, which is a really cheap form builder. It's like a one-off price of $30 or something ridiculous. And it makes really clever forms. And so they could select template 1 and all the forms would pop up, or the fields would pop up, and it would say phone number. So they could pop that in. So now I can complete that part of the website. So I'd kind of work through and make sure I've got all the information I could possibly need. And I wouldn't start work until that form was completed. There's no way I'll start until that form is completed, because otherwise you go back and forth for yonkies. And that's not helping them, that's not helping me. It's bad use of time. So that's the best way to do that. Robin, GoDaddy, with whom I have my domain names, is offering 2 options on getting out emails as well. Should I pay for this in the beginning when I'm in pre-startup stage? So I want you to go into the website module, because I show you there. I personally don't recommend GoDaddy hosting. email hosting or website hosting. I recommend a hosting platform that knows what they're doing. That's a horrible thing to say, that specializes in hosting. There's just so many bad stories about Crazy Domain or GoDaddy hosting. I will buy domains from Crazy Domain and GoDaddy. Yeah, that's right. I will buy domains from Crazy Domain and GoDaddy, but I won't host them with those guys. There's some recommended hosts that I have in the website module, and I show you how to put them on the host, and it's $5 a month to host them, and that will host your website and your emails. So $5 a month, and any portals that you've got or things like that, and it's really quick. So $5 a month, and you can get shared hosting, but it's fine for startup. You can get as many emails as you want. You'll see how to set them all up. It's really quick. I show you how to not only set them up, but also put them into Gmail or whatever it is that you use to receive your emails and send your emails. And I show you how to also set up your website on that same host. So rather than the GoDaddy or Crazy Domains host, you set up your website on there as well. I show you how to put WordPress on, how to add a template if you want to, and you can go as far as you want with that website training. But check out my website training, module 4 of the Doing Academy. That'll definitely make things a lot clearer. You'll feel really confident after that because you'll know what all the words mean without overcomplicating it. I think, Mikkel, it's click per result too for what you're talking about. Yeah. So Mikkel, that copy that you've just mentioned for your Facebook ad is good, but it's still not pain point directed. You can usually flip that. So have you ever thought about what life would look like if you're walking confidently in your purpose? Flip it and say, have you ever woken up and, and felt overwhelmed or felt discouraged or whatever it is, that you're not walking confidently in your purpose? Wake up every few days doing, yeah. So flipping it onto the negative usually talks more to the people, and it's clicked on, like they stop the scroll more and they click on it more if you're talking to a pain point, because that's where they're currently at. And you're in the space where you are moving through that transformation. You're starting to have hope in what the next step could be. A lot of people are still stuck in the pain point of waking up and feeling that overwhelm, feeling that lack of purpose or direction. So starting there will relate more and will talk to people more personally than asking them if they hope for something, because a lot of them haven't even got there yet. If that makes sense. So that's why I always start with the pain point, not because I want to be negative, but because I know, like, particularly as a female entrepreneur, but in every industry, the pain point's the part that hurts more. The pain point's the one that takes up way more brain space and head space and heart space than the dream when you're living the pain. That's why I talk about pain almost too much in my emails, because I'm like, in my Facebook ads, I'm like, I get you. Like, it hurts. It's embarrassing. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. Like, it sucks when you are trying to build a business and you've got money issues, or when, and like, 'cause I've been there, and when you're burnt out and when you're feeling like nothing you're doing is working. Like, I get you. I've been there. It's horrible. It's just it's more real and relatable. And it doesn't come across as salesy, because you're not even trying to say, have you imagined, what this could look like? It's like, hey, how's it going? I feel you. I'm with you. It doesn't have to be like this anymore. Let's get out of here. And then you can start talking more transformation. Desi, you'll see that in my Facebook training at the beginning, how I'm like trying to talk about a pain point there. Stacey's question. Stacey. Gotcha, Stace. Okay. Oh, yes, I remember you, Stacey. I've had an email. Oh, cool. So she's starting an e-course to add on to her current business. And she's had an email from someone asking her what's going to be included in the course when it comes out. And she's registered her interest in my course. Should I do a personal consult with her to answer her questions, and how much should I charge her for that? I don't want to give away my secrets on how I do things within my business. I want her to buy my course, but at the same time, I'm not ready to give it to her yet. Should I charge her to have a chat on Skype and answer her questions, or should I just send her an email for free with the answers? Oh, hold on. She's not asking you about what's in your course. She's asking you questions that you're going to cover in your course, right? Okay, here's what I would do. Have you done one-on-one consulting on this before? Because I would highly recommend you do that first, because that will help you create your course, basically. So I would highly recommend taking this as an opportunity to ask her if she'd like to do some private sessions with you. And yeah, good girl. So this is good. I would like to pick up 3 or 4 people. This would be your aim. Pick up 3 or 4 people to coach on this first and give them a super reduced rate. I think your rate's a little bit too cheap though. I'd double that rate, give them a super cheap rate to have this little coaching program and say it's going to cost you, even if it was super, super cheap and we just started at $200 for 4 sessions with you or something like that. And you're going to coach them through the process and start, like, this is where you need to practice your craft. You need to see if you can teach this, and you'll just learn so much, right? You'll learn how they talk. You'll learn where they're at. You'll realize too how much of an expert you are, because you'll start to answer their questions for them, and it'll be like mind blowing for them, whereas it's common sense for you because you've been doing it for so long. So you'll learn a lot out of one-on-one coaching. That's why I've always done that first. That's why I recommend doing some one-on-one sessions first. And it's easier to make money from that than it is to sell an online course. It's easier to make money by selling your time. You don't want to do that forever, but it's much easier to kind of generate a bit of cash flow, get things humming, get connected to your marketplace. I highly recommend doing that first. So I think this is a great sign that it's time to start doing one-on-one coaching. And you don't have to have the full portal built when you're doing one-on-one coaching. You just have to rock up on Skype or on Zoom and have that one-on-one chat at the arranged time. So I would recommend putting a little package together and saying, for $197 or $297, I'm happy to do 4 hours for consulting sessions with you over 4 weeks and get you on track. We're going to and think about what she needs, right? So to make it benefits focused. In these sessions, I'm going to show you behind the scenes on a specific project I want you to work on that week and exactly how I did it. And then I'll also give you homework to keep you accountable so that you know the exact steps you need to take before our next session. And at the end of it, you'll be able to walk away with blah. So be really results focused on the kinds of things they're going to get out of it. And then maybe a little bullet point of what you're going to cover in each step, in each session. Yeah, get them excited about it and just try and get your first handful of people through that method. And then you'll start coming back to you with testimonials and with case studies and having success and setting up their own businesses. And then that's where it gets exciting. Then you add all those testimonials onto the sales page and go, this is my proof that I'm an expert at what I do and that you're going to have a pretty amazing time in these sessions with me. And we can start to increase the price and start to properly advertise it. Go one-to-one, really good sign. Good job. Well done, Stacey. Whoop, whoop. Time to create your first program. Don't overanalyze it. And be prepared at the beginning. Be prepared to do a little bit of email back and forth to get those first clients. Like, you have to work hard for those first few, but it's worth it because that's what starts the traction and starts you building for everything else. Next question is from Kate. Your other question, Kate. Yeah, I also did training on that one as well. You might just not have. I think the internet maybe perhaps is a problem because I know that you said you couldn't hear me in a couple of these parts as well today. So if you're using Stripe for your automated payments, yes, easy. So what I want you to do, because are you doing a workshop for that? Yes. So I've done some training on this. All you have to do is go into Stripe after the event, go into Stripe and have your guest list beside you of everyone that attended the event. Right? And I also charge people that cancelled on the morning or the day before because I had the empty seat for them, right? So I call them late cancellations, and I actually hold that in credit for them, and they can attend the next one if they'd like. but they do have to pay for the spot because I have morning tea and all the food and the table all set and their notepad all ready for them, and it's an empty seat. So I'll charge people that attended and the late cancellations. I charge them 24 to 48 hours after. And I go into the Stripe account and I'll click on their name, and you'll be able to see that you can apply another payment to their card. So you can actually manually apply that payment. Obviously, you can only apply what they promised that they would pay, which is the $49. If you went through and started applying thousands of dollars, you'd get busted pretty quickly. So just on the valid people that attended or were late cancellations, you can go in and manually apply that $49 payment. I do a similar thing in Infusionsoft, but it's still manual. There's no way that I've discovered yet to automate that. But you know what's a flipping fantastic task to be doing? That's a great profit generating activity, charging people's credit cards. So I'm fine doing it. Once you get huge volume, like when I sold 6,000 tickets, right? So when I got volume, I had an assistant sit there and just do those payments. She'd often do them at the event the next day. She'd go through while I was speaking and do yesterday's payments. Or if it was a Friday event, I'd just jump on the couch, turn on a movie on the Saturday, and it would take me half an hour to process the event's payments. But it's a great activity to do because I'd be like watching, Love Child or something on TV, and then be like, great, I've just processed, $10,000. Fantastic. Like, yes, that's a task I like doing. I actually enjoy it because every time the card goes through successfully, I'm like, yes, I made money. You've done the hard work, and so it's a fun job to do. So yes, you can do it in Stripe, or if you're using Infusionsoft payments, you can do it inside Infusionsoft. Okay. Next option is Stacey. I answered yours, didn't I? I just did yours. Yes. So next question then was from D. I heard you talking about Likeable Lady emails. Where do I find them? So D, email is all in its own section called automation in the Doing Academy. And if you're in any of my projects, we have a special week focused on emails, and I really tell you exactly what needs to go in each. So if you're in any of my projects, there's an email marketing week, usually week 3 or 4. If you're in the Doing Academy, there's a bit on automation in modules, whatever the automation module is. You'll see it in there, some email copywriting tips. Min, can you have a look at my Value in Advanced workshop video that will be on my landing page? Cool. Let me have a quick look. She's just sent me through a link. Oh, it's the wrong one. Permission denied. So you need to go into Vimeo, go under Manage Videos, click on My Videos. When you're in the video you want to go into, click on it, go to Settings. When you're in Settings, go to Privacy. And for now, I'm just trying to think, just to show it to me, you can just make it only people with the private link. When you want to put it onto the landing page, change it to hide this video from Vimeo, and it will work. And make sure it can be embedded anywhere. So privacy, for now, click on only people with the private link, hit save, and copy that link for me and send it over to me. Because that link didn't work. Yeah, okay. You were in privacy. You just need to grab the link that it actually gives you in the little only people with. If you click on only people with private link, it'll give you a link in the actual box below, and that should help. Okay, and I'll be able to have a look at that. Marie, hello Grace. I would like to create an online course. Hello Marie. I'd like to know what is the ideal length: 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 8 weeks? Cool. So none of those are too long or too short. 4, 6, or 8 could work. The way that I figure it out is I always start with where they are right now, the problem, and I'll draw it out on a whiteboard, right? I'll turn this the other way around. I'll start with where they are right now and where they end up, where they want to end up, that transformation, that brand new day that they're trying to experience. So I'll look at the starting point, look at where they want to end up, and then I'll break it down into kind of chunks or modules, I guess, along the way. And I'll usually be able to figure out from that whether this is going to be more of an 8 module element or a 4 module or a 6 module, because I'll base the length on kind of how many parts strategically should be involved in, like how many big steps are involved in getting from where they are right now to where they want to be. I've found 6 for me to be a sweet spot. But sometimes in mindset, health, wellness, 28-day challenges, more like 4 weeks, is sometimes a little bit better. 6 weeks is what I needed to teach what I wanted to teach, but also keep momentum. I've never tried an 8-week. I feel like it would be a little bit too long. There might have to be a break week or an implementation week or something like that, because it would be quite intensive training to go for 8 weeks. I'm not saying you can't, but maybe it'd be 3 weeks, break week, 3 weeks, you know, go live week or something like that. I don't know. I found 6 weeks to be great. 4 weeks wasn't quite enough for me and what I needed to teach. But in health, wellness, mindset kind of stuff, sometimes 4 weeks is better because it's in and out, short, sharp, punchy. The other thing I'll always do is go and do competitor research and see what other people are doing in my space and how long their programs are, because that will usually validate it. If some people are being really successful with 4-week programs, then that validates that a 4-week program could work. If I can't see anyone doing 8-week programs, I'll be like, okay, there's probably a good indication that I shouldn't be the first one to try and make it work. I should probably follow a road that someone might have already travelled. I'm doing my own thing. Yeah, good job. Okay, next question is from Naomi. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome, Maria. Naomi. I know, darling, I'll be finished soon. I need to know your thoughts, as it doesn't seem to be, I don't know. Oh, your Facebook ad. Cool. Let me have a look. So this isn't set up the way I teach you how to set up your Facebook ads. I'm surprised this got approved, only because I didn't think they'd approve your headline. So have you watched my Facebook training on how to write an ad? My most recent one that was probably been in there for about 6 weeks now. And also your link says subscribemenow.com. So basically this ad, I can't see the whole thing. If this is the whole thing, that's not how I teach to write an ad. So just double check how I teach to write an ad, because you're wanting the news feed, not like, you're wanting the newsfeed traffic. This is like a right-hand side kind of ad right now. So you really want, which you can have on if you want, but you'll see, you know, in my teaching, I show you exactly how to build the ad the right way. The concept's cool. The concept's really cool. It just isn't applied in the right way in this ad. It's a really cool concept, particularly for people that struggle with this. My gosh, like the before-after photos are awesome. But just capitalizing the first letter of every word for what's above, for the ad description, for the ad text isn't right. So yeah, definitely look at my Facebook training, apply the Facebook training, and you'll have more success. And then, yeah, make sure the page that you're set, once you know that you're getting, that Facebook ad has applied all of my Facebook steps and it's approved, then you'll want to make sure that you're getting your emails to the right price. So you'll see how I teach you all of that, how to see how much your emails are costing you in Facebook. I teach you that in the Facebook training as well. Because there's 2 things to make an Facebook ad successful. One is the ad itself. The second is the first landing page that, again, needs to follow my principles. And then after that, if you get those 2 humming, then it's just a matter of matching them up with the right product or service. So make sure you watch the training because it's all in there, the exact way to build those ads. And if you have watched the training, you watch it again because you've missed quite a few parts. Great guy. Okay, next question is from, yeah, Mikkel, I think cost per email is the same as cost per result. You're welcome, guys. Can we... Oh, sorry, you want... Oh, hold on 1 second. Just got to grab this order. So, Sandy, you can come in if you want, Sadie. Sadie. Sandy, your question. Oh, I'm never working out ever again. Hello, darling. Ow. Oh, I did the bottom and thigh exercise yesterday for 15 minutes. That's all I did. 14 minutes. Wasn't even 15. 14 minutes of exercising. This is how unfit I am. Ow. I can hardly move. My bottom hurts. Sandy, so I will look at just quickly with your webinar, when you're doing your webinar and Webinar Jam, totally, but I will look quickly at how much my emails are costing me, and then I'll look at how many sales I made. So I'll do that each day. And yeah, and if you ask me that in the inner circle, I'm happy to, actually, this is also, August is webinars, fully focused on webinars. So in that, I've been writing it at the moment because I'm kind of getting in the zone with what I want to share with you guys. The inner circle pack for August, I'm actually showing you my exact spreadsheet that I used, or that I still use every day still, but particularly that I used at the beginning to figure out if it was working or not. And then every day since then, it's like got over a year's worth of data in it. Yeah, so you'll see that in there as well. Okay, Jane, wondering how I target mums on Facebook that have a more disposable income and are likely to purchase higher priced items for their kids. So it's all based on interests. So are there any big competitors in your space who are selling high priced, like any kind of other brands that are sort of high priced brands of children's products, children's clothing, things like that? Tends to work quite well. It'd all be around, in your case, if you want to get that higher price point, it'd all be around brands that are at a higher price point. So, for example, if you're selling, I don't know, if you're selling, what's a good example? If you're wanting to get in touch with people who really love high-end yoga clothes, you'd go like Lululemon or Lorna Jane. You wouldn't go Target. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bad example, but in terms of price point, if you've got a premium product, if you're wanting to sell Porsches, you target people that like Ferraris and BMWs and Audis. You don't target people that like Fords and I don't know cars. So these examples aren't really helping. But normally I would target high-profile brands in the industry that are of that kind of more luxury price point. It's normally what I'll do. So it'll be based on other product names. You're welcome, guys. Good. I'm glad that helped. You're a rock star too, Mikkel. Cool. Okay, next question is from You're welcome. Just having a quick look at this questione. So I've just got a link here from, who's this link from? Naomi. Do you think I could use this short video for a Facebook ad? I'm just going to quickly watch it. You'll just watch the first bit of it.
Shea Purity started in Canberra in 2013. My son had eczema, and I decided to create a product that would soothe, nourish, and repair his skin naturally.
Yeah, so it could. Just be careful. You started off talking about the business. I know this is harder to edit out, but no one cares about your business yet. They care about the problem they've got. So when we start off with talking about when you started, people are like, you just got such a short time to capture attention in a Facebook ad. So, I mean, this is the best way to test it if we want to see if this does get traction and if people do like this message that you've got. The best way to test it is to do a video views campaign. Again, I would get a website conversions ad to work first before I started dabbling in this stuff, because if you can't get that to work, this isn't going to be a huge cost, like huge profit generator. This will be more of a brand awareness video. So you need to be getting results with website conversions. The way that I teach Facebook, you need to get results with that first. But I like the way that you're teaching a story. And yeah, this whole concept, this whole almost case study on yourself and that before, after that transformation journey, like that's powerful. So let's give this a go. Video views campaign. Set up a video views campaign. Spend like $5 a day. And you can set up a custom audience based on people that have watched that video for more than 10 seconds or people that have watched that video for more than 30 seconds. So I do it for people that have watched the video more than 30 seconds. If they watch the video for more than 30 seconds, they would be considered pretty hot. And so you can set up a custom audience of people that have watched that video for 30 seconds and show your website conversions ad to people that have watched this video for 30 seconds. Because you know that if they've watched this video for 30 seconds or more, they're pretty hot. They've stuck around. That's a long time on a Facebook feed to watch a video. And then the next day, they all of a sudden get your website conversions ad. It's kind of like this one's warming them up and almost qualifying them and starting a bit of that relationship. And then all of a sudden they see your offer and they're like, oh yeah, I watched that video yesterday. That was cool. Oh, cool. I forgot about that product. I'll go click on that and check it out. And off they go. Yeah. Can you also too make sure that you check out, Naomi, go to the landing pages section of the Doing Academy. It's really important. Doing Academy, landing pages. Click on the landing pages lesson. It's under website and landing pages, module 3. Click on landing pages in there and check out the Shopify thing that I recommend because it's flipping awesome. I think that's a really good way to build a campaign in your space. Next question is from... You're welcome, guys. Cool. Let me have a look at that one for you. Min, where are you? Opening. Loading. Why didn't it load? Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah, so in your first question, don't talk about what they want to do first. Talk about the pain point. Just go straight to the pain point. And people use brand. So brand in your case, if you go out, I want you to just do a little bit of market research. If you haven't already, make sure you know why people get a branding specialist. People get a branding specialist. I mean, this is in my experience. People get a branding specialist because they're embarrassed by their current brand. Or kind of their current brand underwhelms them and they feel like it's limiting their success. And it's more often embarrassment. You're like, oh, that logo, or that, that design, those colors, whatever it is in their brand. That's just, I know that's what it was for me, for sure. When I first started Grace Lever, I didn't have the cash to spend on branding. I had no money. So I just did my own logo myself and it looked so bad. And as soon as I could afford to, once it started to make good money, then I swapped that out. But I know for ages I was embarrassed with the brand. And then the second brand still wasn't where it needed to be. Like after a year, I was thinking, oh, this is a bit embarrassing. I really should redo this. It was that kind of approach. So asking a question like, are you embarrassed by your brand and how people perceive you online or something like that? That question would hit home a little bit more. And you know how, without playing on it, you know how critical females are anyway. And sometimes people have really great brands, but they still just never good enough. There's that element of perfectionism that is helpful for you to be aware of in your market too. After that, cool. The only thing is, you're asking people to schedule a chat with you up front. So in this Facebook ad, you're asking them to schedule a consult and we are missing a lead magnet here. It's going too close to the sell. You can't go straight to the sell from Facebook. So you need to make sure that your lead magnet's in the middle. So you need to give them some sort of branding training or advice or some sort of video that they can watch. You need to start there first. some sort of really great resource like downloadable or like a solid, really solid one, you need to give them something first on Facebook, because everyone out there in your market and in my market and every market are trying to say, hey, buy my product or service. Like I was talking to someone the other day in real estate and they were lovely, and their comment was, oh, but I just want people to pick up the phone. I just want to talk to potential customers. I'm like, yeah, don't we all? Like, that's what we all want. That's what everyone's trying to get their ideal customers to, picking up the phone and talking to them. But it's not that easy. We've all got competitors. We need to be different. You can't anymore just say, hey, call me, hey, call me, hey, call me. They were in real estate. And everyone in real estate is saying, hey, let's have a chat. Hey, let's have a chat. They're door knocking on people's doors saying like, hey, can we please have a chat? Like, I want to, it's not going to cut through. And you're not giving people what they really, really want. You're just being another one of the people out there who are trying to sell their product or service. Let's try and be different and give first. It's the way you're going to have most success on Facebook. So that is a perfect step for here. The ad's really good, but instead of offering the video consult straight away, the online consult straight away, can we instead offer something for free? Not your time, but offer a video or like something that you can just roll out, a video or downloadable, something automated, and let them watch that first. We've got to build up that trust. We've got to get them to know you, like you, and trust you before they can reach out to you. Otherwise, we just become another voice asking people for cash. I know you're giving them a free consult, but it's still a sales pitch. And it's too early in the process. Otherwise, looking good. That's the only change I'd make. Everything else is looking quite good. When I was in Facebook too, I would break up some of the sentences. I'd just make some more space between those rather than having big chunky paragraphs. It's the same kind of 3-line rule. If it's 3 lines or more, it needs to be cut with some ... dots and break it down, kind of the same way that we write our emails. Well done. That's the only change request there, just the offer. You're welcome, guys. Cool. Next question is from Naomi. Just watched the training in the page traffic module under Facebook. Maybe you sent me the wrong ad because it didn't have the headline, like the ad description wasn't right, and it didn't have the full copy. It only had like a sentence in the ad screenshot you sent me. So maybe you've sent me the wrong ad and you've got the long one with the long form text, where you talk about this week and you talk about the pain point and you go through, all those elements that we go through. Check that one out. Just double check that Facebook training. And make sure you've watched that video. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Next question is from Christy. So she wants feedback. Christy wants some feedback on her Likeable Lady emails. Gotcha back, Christy. Done. Open. So when I'm checking Likeable Lady emails, I'll be looking for a few things. Length is my first one. Cool. Okay, so this is a good example. Here's the way I want you to think about your emails, Christy, because Christy's like, she's, one second. Aged care exercise DVD programs to be sold in aged care facilities. Cool. So you obviously, Christy, I don't think you're personally your target market. You know how when we're telling stories in emails and trying to relate to people, we're often using our own stories because we were our target market. That's what a lot of people, why they started their business, was because they were successful in their own transformation, either in finding a product or developing a service or a genius zone, and they go on to show others how to do that, or sell that product to other people. In terms of, in your case, some people aren't their target market and they haven't experienced that pain point. They just want to serve people in a specific target market. It doesn't make the offer any weaker. It's like if you're a fertility specialist and you've had 4 kids and didn't have any problem conceiving. It's not to say that you're not a fertility specialist. It's just to say that you can't use your own stories. You have to use other people's stories. And you don't have to reveal who those people are, but you can still empathize with those guys as your client and share their stories about how Melissa was really struggling to conceive, and how all the things that she went through, and IVF, and after 5 years, you can still go through that process. So in your case, you can still go through that process. I'm assuming you've got clients that you've worked with or people like that in this space that have inspired you to want to create this program. So you've got that element. In your case, though, if you're selling these to aged care facilities, you need to be talking and hitting on the pain point of aged care facilities, which will not necessarily always be the same as aged care residents. You need to be aware, in your case, I'm assuming you're aware, that aged care facilities, like directors and people that are running aged care facilities and running budgets for aged care facilities and deciding where they invest their money, have different priorities. And the health and wellness of the aged care residents is important, but they're also juggling budgets, and they're also juggling staffing, and they're also juggling all these other elements that you need to consider. So same kind of thing. For example, someone that I was working with who did dance classes, how bogan did that sound? Dance classes for for primary schools, because it came into the curriculum that you had to teach dance in schools in front of all your children. And all the PE teachers, all the physical education teachers are like, kill me now, I have to dance. And there was all sorts of things in the curriculum they had to teach them, like, I don't know if it was specifically hip hop, but they had to be like classical dance, like ballet. And so these teachers are like, are you kidding me? There had to be some ballroom elements, like playing around with dance in the, which is great. She was a professional dancer, choreographer, developed these incredible programs for kids' schools where teachers could just press play and walk out of the classroom, and not walk out of the classroom, but, the kids would be directed by her. And she also had, so she had DVD programs, and she also had teachers that would come into the schools and run the programs for them with great success. So she's not talking to the kids. I know they're the end users of the product, but she's not talking to the kids. She's talking about to the teachers, and she's thinking about the pain points of the teachers. The teachers in terms of all the stuff that they had to fulfill for the curriculum. Her programs were curriculum ready, so they could cut out all the paperwork and know that they were ticking all the boxes with her programs. All of her programs were press and play elements, so that they could press and stand at the back of the class and didn't have to lead the dancing trainings either. And so that was the way that she was selling. She was giving great social proof. She had the full ones where she could come in and their dance instructors could do multiple classes at once, so saving you and your colleague time so that you can do things that are more important in that time. Pretty cool sell to a teacher who's freaking out about having to learn a whole dance curriculum and teach it to children, and just the embarrassment of that, right? So that's very different to selling dance to the kid's parents or to the child themselves. When you're selling to the teacher, there's different pain points. So I want you to pause for a moment. I need you to get into the person who is making that primary decision maker in the aged care facilities. What are their challenges? What's going through their head? Why would they want your exercise DVD? What pain points is that solving? It's not solving a pain point of I want to exercise more, because they're not using it. It's solving a pain point of injuries in their aged care facility, of improving the wellness and the whole atmosphere of the aged care facilities. It's adding on a feature for the children of aged care residents and people that are making decisions around aged care facilities and which ones they're going to choose. What does an aged care facility director, what are they struggling with? What are the challenges that this aged care exercise DVD will solve? Okay. Again, staffing's a great one because it's a DVD. It doesn't have to be facilitated as much. It's a super low price point, so budgets for them are tight. So that's, if you get into their shoes, that will help you in writing your stories. The next question is from Courtney. I'm starting a photography business that focuses on destination weddings. Cool. I live in Nashville, and this is a really hot spot for couples. I'm struggling to figure out how to add passive recurring income to my business, as most of my customers are one-offs. Totally. So you do the photography. Cool. So in your business model, that passive income element is also thinking more long term about this, where this will end up. So the passive income element doesn't have to be applied today. I just don't want you to be too short-sighted and say, all I'm ever going to do is take photos with people and that's all I ever plan to do, because there's more opportunities for you with that, and there's, you know, opportunities to get paid while you're not working in all of those elements down the track. I'm not saying that we get them humming yet, particularly when you're just starting the business. I 100% agree that you should be focusing on the face-to-face, one-to-one fulfillment and making those programs and packages that you're doing there incredible, making that whole experience exceptional. When it comes to passive income, I see you first nailing the photography business and just being so successful at that so that you can teach others how to be successful at that. Because a lot of people struggle in creating photography businesses, and a lot of people want to start wedding photography or, you know, those kinds of photography businesses. So consider that as maybe a more long-term element, teaching people how to do what you end up doing inside the Identity Project and the ways that you have lots of success. And then in terms of your business model, I also want you to consider, are there any kind of add-ons? Is it just as easy for you to, and it's what photographers tend to do very well, to be able to add a photo book, like just make sure you've got a full value ladder so that people that do want the whole experience, is there a videographer you can partner with and you take a 25% clip if you refer anyone to them, because that's an often hand-in-hand kind of offer? Or do you do videography? What other ways can you make your value ladder a little bit richer so that you're not just like, this is the only package I've got, and they say, oh, okay, cool, we'll take it then, rather than, we've got this package and I can also offer you videography services if that's something you're thinking of. Yeah, we wanted a videographer. Great, let me organise that for you. I can also offer you a photo book after with blah. Yeah, great. I can offer you the USB for this amount. Yep, great. Off we go. I can do engagement photos for you now if you haven't done those ones yet for this price. I just have a think about that, that value ladder. And you know what? I've had one of my girls do this really successfully and I love it because it needs to be done more. I'm just thinking, when I went wedding dress shopping with my sister last year, she was in an area that she wasn't usually in. She hadn't been there for very long, is what I mean, when she moved to this place where she was getting married there as well. And when she went wedding dress shopping, she had no idea who the makeup artist was in town, who the best person was to do nails, all those kinds of, the best flower place, the best place for venue hire, all that kind of stuff. And so we asked the wedding dress person and she knew everything. She's like, don't go to these people, go to these guys, they're great, blah, blah. So referring other people in the wedding services, I've had one of my girls do this where they've organised relationships with people that they really like and said, people that I send your way, can I have a percentage? And so somewhere between 10 and 30%. And so now what she does is when people ask her that question, because a lot of people ask that question, or she just brings it up in conversation and says, have you got someone for your flowers yet? Where are you getting those? Oh, cool. And doesn't push it on them. But if they say, no, hook me up, she's like, great, I'll send you an email with all of the contacts. And she just CCs in the providers so they know that that's her referral and she gets a kickback if they go ahead. So it's a good way. She was referring it anyway and giving these people all this business. And it's like, hey, now it's time for you to look after me because I've referred all these people to you. So keep that in mind too. It's another easy add-on when you're promoting great people that you've, taken time and effort and built relationships to find. You're saving people a heck of a lot of time and stress, and you can get paid for that. Okay. Another question is from Janine. Can you please advise me how I go about trademarking a service name? It's been suggested by another therapist to do this before I put it out there and the idea is stolen. It's not a business name, but the name that will identify my treatments. So-and-so face treatments, so-and-so body treatments, so-and-so hair training. This will be the name for my training sessions that I hope to get online. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. In my experience, trademarking is really expensive and you don't do it until you've proven that your idea works. You can literally spend $5,000 trademarking something and deciding that you never end up using it. It's an amazing way to get caught in paperwork and pay a whole heap of cash that should be invested in actually starting the business if it's too early. So in my opinion, I didn't trademark Doing Days or Stop Dreaming, Start Doing or Doing Academy. That wasn't done until I'd made the first $1 million. Probably left a little bit late. I probably should have done it when I made a few $100,000. But and I'm not saying you wait that long, but I'm saying you've got to get this out there and test if this works. Otherwise, you're trademarking nothing. You're just trademarking something you hope works. You have no confidence that this will be successful. So be really careful about that. I see people paying so much money to trademark something that right now is worthless. In time, hopefully it'll be really successful and you end up going with this. But even at the $1 million mark, I've trademarked 2 things that I'm never going to use again because the business model changed. And it's just such a waste of money. So trademarking in Australia costs a couple of $300 to $400 to put in the application. And then overseas trademarking, like I paid 15 grand for all of my trademarks to get them in 6 English-speaking countries. I was so annoyed paying that amount of money. I had to do it because there was something worth protecting. But I was like, there's no way I would do that at startup stage. It's just too expensive. Because you've got to do it through the, I'm going to say, Madrid trademarking thing. No, maybe it's not Madrid. Milan? What? No, Madrid? Morocco? That's whatever it is, that registration that does them globally. And you apply there for each of the individual countries. You don't get it globally. You have to apply for each of the countries. So it's easy-ish enough to do it in Australia or in your home country, and you do it there first. And then you go international, and it's really expensive. So I would never recommend anyone to do trademarks when they haven't made $1. When you've made your first, got the hiccups. When you've made your first 50, 100 grand, I don't know, that's the only time I would start trademarking. Until then, it's just an idea. And it's actually worthless when it's an idea. It's only worth something when you actually start generating income with it and you start putting that name out there. I've got lawyers. Are you in Australia? Yeah, you are. My legal team, Janine, my legal team are flipping awesome. And I've done a video with those guys explaining trademarking and terms and conditions and all those important legal things. My guys are awesome. They're so smart. They're so lovely. They're so cheap. And they've got my back. Like when people are really mean to me and really rude or cyberbullying or stuff like that. And when people are really unreasonable and we just send them over to their way, and they've always got my back. And I feel so protected now that I've got them because we're in front of 8 million people and there are some crazies out there. Crazies. Horrible people. People that just say stuff that they don't need to say. Like someone was hating on me the other day. I did a new ad for Facebook videos. And so the video went up. Sorry, a new video for my Facebook ads. The video went up and she started commenting on all the videos going, yuck, what is she wearing? How about you learn how to dress or something like that? What an ugly top. And I was just like, did you need to say that? Like, I just delete them and ban them and block them because they're just yucky people. But would you do that? Would you go online to someone's Facebook ad and say, ugh, she looks so ugly? I was like, gosh, people are horrible. You don't even know me and you're willing to judge me. So unusual. Oh, yeah, lucky I don't see them all because my team look after them now and pass them on to the lawyer if the person's really horrible. Because some people are just so rude. Okay, got yours. Hold on, I was just reading the next one. Yeah, you definitely haven't watched the training. Naomi, the training with Adam and I definitely doesn't teach you to write that as the ad description. So the ad description, sorry, the ad text up the top above the image, that's not how I teach it. So you'll have to watch that again. There's 6 parts to it that we cover when we write a Facebook ad and none of those are in there. It's a really cool message. So I really want you to do it the way that we teach because it could have really good traction. It's a huge pain point. I've got nieces who have eczema. It's such a pain point. Cool, Laura, just wanting some help, some of your help with my numbers. So our website conversion rate is 1.4%. Right, so this is an e-commerce store with an average basket of £33. I have an email newsletter list of 4,000. And from the email newsletter list, an average basket is £40. But I only make 1 to 3 sales from each email address, I'm assuming. Oh, each email blast that you do. Our stats are that's pretty low with 4,000. That's very low with 4,000. Our stats are pretty industry standard for retail. 17 to 27% open rate, pretty good. 4% click-through rate, pretty good. Cool. So here's what, totally. Yeah. Laura, in your email list, I love it that you know your numbers. I love it that you know those numbers that well. In your email list, I'm not entirely sure what your product or service is, but what your product is, but it's all about repeat business. So in an e-commerce business, if your first sale is breaking even on ad spend and costs, that's awesome, because all the profit is in your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth sales, right, in e-commerce stores. So if you can have a product that's repeat purchase or has any form of recurring or repeat element to it, that's where you start getting very excited. So, and then I've got to go because I'm running late. So it's all about doing promotions. What I want you to do is look at your calendar, because you should be making more than 1 to 3 sales from each email broadcast. Look at your email, look at your calendar of the year and figure out when your top hot spots are for reaching out. I want you to come out with between 8 and 10. Hello, girls. 8 and 10 points on the calendar. I've got 2 doggies here. There's one and there's another one identical, and they're a little bit intense. Come up with times on the email calendar: Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, back to school, end of financial year. What works for your business, right? Your annual birthday for the company, whatever it is. And I want you to do promotions leading up to that. I want you to work on the shipping cutoff date for that promotion. To get it there on Valentine's Day, you need it by the Friday before. Leading up to that shipping cutoff date, I want you to do 10 days to 14 days, 10 days to 2 weeks worth of email communications. And I want you to do at least 7, if not 8 or 9 emails over that time. Doing one just is not enough. And I like to put countdown timers in my emails. They work quicker. So they're called, Kimberly just said, happy doggy tails. Exactly, very happy doggies. They're called Motion Mail. It's a free timer. There's probably better paid ones, but this is just a free timer, and I just used that because it was free. Motion Mail, and I could put that in, and it would have a countdown based on the shipping cutoff date. Really maximize the last day of the shipping cutoff date. You should send at least 2 emails on the last day, because that's when you get even more sales. Have a reason why they would want to buy at that time as well. Like they get a free gift, or it's 10% off, or you've got a special product that relates just to Mother's Day, or whatever it is. 2 for the price of 1, depends on what you're offering, right, as to how much wiggle room you've got to go there. And you'll see big spikes on the calendar, which is really, really healthy. The other thing I want you to do is go into module 3 of the Doing Academy. Under landing pages, look at my training on the Shopify landing pages. That's where I want you to send Facebook traffic moving forward. Don't send Facebook traffic to your website. Send them to the landing pages training under that. I've got a chat coming up with Ezra Firestone, which I've been waiting on forever. He's been traveling so much, and then he was sick for a while, and he's back on board, and I think it's this week. I need to check this morning. I think it's this week in my schedule, having a chat with Ezra for my e-commerce girlies, showing you exactly how it is that he uses Facebook traffic to sell, build a list and sell. He's a genius at it. And I'm in a mastermind with him, and so we catch up a few times a year, and he's a genius. I really want to show you guys what he's shown me and what he's doing in that space. So that'd be cool as well. So check out module. Module 3. I'll be back here again. I try not to leave any questions for longer than 7 days. So I always try and answer on a weekly basis, answer your questions. I'll be back here live again soon as well if you've got any other questions. Otherwise, happy building. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Laura, I just said that bit you said about Zipify. Flipping awesome. You're going to love it. Stay tuned for this chat with Ezra. You're going to love it. Bye.